Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This is going to be another television movie called Modern Warriors: The Martial Way, 2002, starring David Carradine, Bruce Lee, Robert Wall, Don the Dragon Wilson, Phillip Rhee. Did I miss anybody? I think those are the main ones that I recognize. Some of the UFC K1 guys I didn't recognize. It talks a lot about how in the United States people tend to integrate martial arts, and it's really easy to get a black belt in the United States. So basically, you get the ins and outs of the martial arts business, all the different facets, the submission holds and the kickboxing, you name it. I didn't know that K1 and UFC were so brutal in terms of being practical tools for fighting people with guns and knives and stuff. I don't know. It seemed a bit exaggerated in terms of how far you can go in terms of self-defense. There was one guy who kind of one champion guy who kind of hinted that he successfully defended himself against a knife, which is kind of hard to imagine, but hey, I guess if he's really that good, it's conceivable he could do it. Either that or the guy with the knife was really lame. He sort of said that in the movie. Jet Li's kind of interesting seeing him attempt to speak English. His Chinglish wasn't too good. So that was kind of interesting. Pretty cool documentary, I'd say. I'd give it 5 out of 5 stars. You know, you see these guys in films, but you don't know their background or what their whole philosophy is in terms of martial arts, kickboxing, submission, whatever the case may be. So I didn't know some of the other guys, some of the other kickboxers and whatnot, because I hadn't seen them in movies. But you know, some of them retire and go on to movies. They sort of parlay their popularity in the ring and try to get these same people to watch their movies, I guess. I'm not one of those type of people who watches wrestling or UFC or K1 or any of that kind of stuff. I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid, so this kind of reminded me of professional wrestling a little bit, especially the submission fighters and the UFC kind of stuff. Supposedly K1, according to this movie, is supposed to be the Cadillac of street fighting type stuff, but it's in a ring, you know. They use the bare hands and their bare feet, so everything really looks fast and quick knockouts and stuff. So that was kind of interesting. I wasn't familiar with K1 at all. I had heard of UFC though. I just never bothered watching it because I don't watch television. So that kind of stuff doesn't appeal to me, but it was kind of interesting, only 58 minutes long. David Carradine makes a brief cameo to say something nonsensical that he doesn't know anything about. He's just I guess he studied karate and ballet. Studied karate mainly for his kung fu stuff, which is all in slow motion, of course, so it's not very realistic. This documentary is more realistic, even more so because Carradine is doing all the talking and not the fighting. Uh, Same with Jet Li. Don't see him doing any fighting. It's mostly kickboxers and submission guys, the guys who know everything about jiu-jitsu and Brazilian submission holds and all this other stuff. So kind of cool. Um, I don't know. I just thought this was really well made. Apparently, the documentarian director uh, Peter Spearer got an Academy Award nomination for something else. Not this, apparently. Um, so I thought it was well done, very intriguing, interesting. How these guys go about their business, how they train, how they fight. Uh, you see one Benny guy, he's beats the crap out of a Japanese guy just because he has a weak chin. So that was kind of interesting to see how they study each other's chinks in their armor, so to speak, in this movie. Yeah, kind of an interesting array of talent here. Nice to see Don the Dragon Wilson, Phillip Rhee, all those guys who are in some great movies, some great martial arts movies. I just saw Don the Dragon Wilson for like 5 seconds in one of the Scorpion Kings sequels. I want to say Scorpion King 4. The one with Lou Ferrigno. So that was pretty cool. It's nice to see that Don the Dragon Wilson is still making movies. Jet Li kind of went downhill. David Carradine's dead, but he made a ton of movies. Um, Not too much in the way of kung fu, but a lot of cult movie stuff. Who else? Robert Wall. Haven't seen him in too many movies lately. Kind of faded out in the 80s, I guess, after Bruce Lee died. Of course, he was in Enter the Dragon. He was in Game of Death. A couple Bruce Lee movies. One was made after Bruce Lee died, with archive footage of Bruce Lee. That was kind of interesting. Who else? There's archive footage of Bruce Lee, but I must have missed it because I don't remember seeing it. Maybe I got the cut version. I don't know. 58 minutes. How long is it on IMDb? Let's see. It is. There's only one review on here. This is kind of an esoteric one of those things that only hardcore fans would watch. Oh, runtime 56 minutes. So actually, this one has 2 minutes of extra footage. It's a TV movie, so kind of interesting how they made it 56 to 58 minutes. I don't know how they squeezed in commercials, or maybe they made it an hour and a half show or something. Hour 15 minutes. Or maybe it didn't have commercials. It just ran all the way through, commercial free. I don't know. I don't know what kind of TV show this was. It could have been a cable show, pay-per-view. I don't know. Interesting though. Pretty cool stuff. Definitely highly recommended. Check it out later.